Hello everyone, here we are with Terence at the Global Empowerment Summit. The young and the wise are coming together and they are both together, and here with Terence we are exploring something very specific, so I hope you will tune in and you will watch us. Hi Terence, how are you today?
Not too bad. Just had dinner with my family.
That's nice. What did you have for dinner?
Balinese food.
Wow, yummy. I love Balinese food. There's a very nice Balinese restaurant somewhere in KL. I used to go there. Oh, very nice. Good idea. I will do that soon. So tell me a little bit about your week. How was it? Let's just warm up until the people are joining in. What did you do? Were you also running again? How did it go?
And it opened up, so I actually get to cycle outdoors again and get to run outdoors again where I feel safe. And of course, like when cycle is all alone, it's a very individual game. But it's good to be in the sun. It's good to get the tan. Yeah, it's good to actually moving again rather than being stuck at home.
It's just good to have some D vitamin, right? I mean, I was thinking about this in the 14 days of quarantine because we were in a very dark room that has no window, and we were just in between two, kind of like two buildings. So it was totally dark. And I was like, how is this healthy? Like I'm 14 days in a room without D vitamin, without going out. And that was really like something. I just wanted to go out like you and have some D vitamin.
Oh, you can't get out from the room. There's no an hour for you to go get some sun.
Oh, no. They are delivering the food in the front of the door in baggies, in little, I almost said doggy bags, but it's not for the dogs, it's me. So it was nice food and everything. But yeah, you cannot step out of the room at all. Yeah.
Wow.
It was a little bit tough, but we survived. And now finally I'm home and I can go out and we can even train. So it's kind of like a nice experience again.
Oh, that's good.
So we have Jeg with us. Hi, Jeg. Yes, she was with me on LinkedIn, and she's back with us on the YouTube channel. So thank you for following us. And I will reveal slowly our topic for today so that we can shock our audience. Here it is. So I hope you are with us and you will ask a lot of questions, because I just brought you Terence because he's the one that can help you in these questions. Sex and relationship, boundaries and questions. Where do we start, Terence?
Well, you can always start either in the area of relationship or you can start in the area of sex. Which one you want to go first?
Let's warm up with the relationship. So let's go with the relationship first. Let's warm up in that area, and then straight away after we will go into the other other level.
Sure. So what do you want to talk?
Yeah. Yes, how do we start? So relationships. Hi, Pertpal. It's really nice to see you here.
Well, in the area of relationship, it's most of the time a lot of conversation, especially boundaries. I want to call assumed boundaries. There is actually no conversation spoken about it. It's just an assumption, and people assume, and people get upset when the boundaries are broken, and then they fight, and then they only talk about it because they have never actually set boundaries before the relationship, before entering or during the relationship, or while the relationship is progressing over the years, boundary shifts. So there's a lot of shifting in that area. It's like laws in the 1900s may not apply as laws today. So even the law shifts because of the environment, because of society, boundaries shift to in relationship.
And the people change, right? That's another thing, that throughout the relationship, you are not the same person that was like when you met. And also because of your age, because of your experience, but also how you form each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you form each other in a way that you will not be the same together as you were alone before.
It is. It's like when you're younger and less secure, you could have like boundaries, like, oh, you cannot go out with another opposite sex because I feel unsafe. Conversation, and as you progress and you feel safer, it's like, you can go now, go. I don't care. And like after a while, it's like, okay, don't just go and have fun rather than be home and grumpy. Just go, But then boundary shifts. So when that happens, the whole relationship conversation, whether it's with your partner or with your kid, then you need to have this conversation again. It's a different conversation.
It's like resetting, like the basic, right? Like resetting. Okay, when I'm alone, I have myself. I don't have to care about the others around me. But when I'm with someone, like the first time before we get together, I say, I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't want this. And then if you say in the beginning, it will be clear until you change your mind, right? But then you have to tell that you change your mind.
Yeah. Then the thing is, sometimes you change your mind and you don't know about it that you change, and then when the person say, I thought you used to care about this. Oh, I don't care about it anymore, and I didn't realize about it. Let's talk about that. So that boundary is now open for negotiation.
So let's talk about boundaries themselves. Like maybe some people cannot relate to them, or they don't know what are the boundaries that we are talking about. So can you tell us some examples of boundaries, or the areas where we mostly good if we set up some boundaries?
But very simple rule in relationship is it. Let's say if you're not dating yet, it would be, while I'm going out with you, are you going to date someone else?
Like open
Or
relationship and
it's
closed
like
relationship.
we are all like what I call relationship shopping. That's the new word. And then you're just one of the ones that I just finally we hooked up and we just kind of dated, and then you're just one of the many that I'm going through kind of conversation. Or when I meet up with you and that's it, I won't be seeing anyone else, and you should not be seeing anyone else. So that conversation is kind of a big conversation. When people don't talk about it, then there's a lot of upsets. It's like, when you're dating me, why are you still seeing others? I'm like, why not? We are not confirmed, like as a thing that we are going really deep inside. So it's like I'm still deciding. So that could be a big upset. That's one example of boundaries, that when you don't set it and it's assumed.
Okay, that's a good one actually, and it can like make or break relationships, right?
It
Already.
does. It does. Then, because of no boundaries, maybe the girl goes on dating and the guy gets upset, and then that's it. So that is like before dating kind of conversation on boundaries. And even like during when you're already in a relationship, people don't talk about this simple rule. Is it a monogamous relationship or it is not? And if it's not a monogamous relationship, how does it work?
Yeah, what are the things that are okay, what are not, what are the safety issues? I mean, there are so many things to talk about, right, in this area, if you are in
Yeah.
open or if you are in a closed relationship.
Even the term called monogamous, it is assumed as well, because like the definition to one person is different from the other person. And like it's like it's so assumed that it's not specific, so therefore a lot of boundaries get stepped on and fight happens until the rules get clear and the boundaries are clear. And
Yeah, perfect examples already. So I have Jagat is here, and she's already writing to us. So Terence, I know of many marriage couples are living together under the same roof um, because of the
because
kids, but they are not in relationship, and it's causing a lot of depression. What's your advice?
well it, the it's not an advice. It would say that I don't know why are they living in the same roof. Do they choose to or do they choose not to? That's where I go to. And if you are staying together because you have kids and you're co-parenting, then the rules are clear. You're co-parenting. You can have your own partners while you're co-parenting. Because if that rule is not clear, you are assuming that the other person is also not dating while you're co-parenting and being alone. And that is kind of one of those rules that unspoken, but it's not healthy as well. It's like, you have moved on, you want to co-parent, great. But if you want to continue to date, great, talk about it. And if you're afraid to talk about it, that's where the problem is. And while you're moved on and you're afraid to see someone else, that's also an area to talk about. That's where, when you're not yourself, that's kind of the start of what causes depression. But I don't know what is the issue. It could be from the kids, it could be baggage, it could be many, many things, but I don't know what it is. I just need to have a bit more specifics, that's all.
No, that's actually already a perfect description of it, because communication is the most important thing. Because even if you are co-parenting and you are agreeing about, okay, I can see each other or I can see other people, there can be still something like you cannot see this guy in front of the kids or something, those kind of things that can still mix up. Even if you set one rule, you have to go deeper level and set the other rules, right?
Yeah, and a lot of things is sometimes a lot of jealousy happens even while you're co-parenting. It's kind of like you are already no longer a couple, but you act like you own the other person. and it's like, where did this ownership conversation come from? And that is like old baggages. Like it could be it is just some really, really old stuff that's coming up. And while you're talking about this word co-parenting, and it's also a very new term, even the term like he, she, or she, her, and non-binary is now a whole new conversation that is coming up in this relationship world that is does not follow any old rules anymore. There's a lot of new one that's coming up.
It's a little bit very similar to life, right? We are in a different situation. Everything is changing so fast. So we have to just, I believe, break those fixed mindsets and communicate more and be more open about what we want and articulate what we want, right?
Mm-hmm. Because a lot of old conversation is about putting up, tolerate, and that's how you last together, tolerate and tolerate and tolerate. Yes, you tolerate the person, you can last a very, very, very long time. Only thing is like, if you lose yourself while you're tolerating, or you go crazy while you're tolerating, how are you going to live your life? That's another conversation. But now a lot more personal development has set in, so people are more open and are less willing to tolerate and want to have beautiful relationship from the get-go.
I think tolerating is something that I don't really like this word. I think that in personal development in today's world, in the 21st century, it doesn't really have the correct meaning anymore, because tolerating means that you are tolerating something that you don't like, or you are not agreeing with, or you are not aligned with, but you are tolerating it for the bigger, better reason. But where is the better reason coming from, right? How can you decide that if you tolerate, it will not have effect on you as a person, or if you will not go to depression after 20 years of tolerating someone, right?
Yeah, but that term was valid maybe 20, 30 years ago. If you look at it, in the sense that it was a one-income family where women take care of the family. When a man brings home the bacon, that was the old model. And then tolerate needs to happen, because if she does not tolerate and leave the company, the family is in shambles, and she cannot leave, or she leaves, she will also be in shambles. The kids will be, and he will be, and everything goes broken. The bigger picture is the whole family is really, really affected. Where else now in this point in time, it's a double income family where both parents are able to take care of the kids themselves. So it has shifted. So they do not need to tolerate anymore, like you said. Therefore, there's a lot of shift in that area.
Maybe because of opening up, right? Because they see more new things. The world is opening up. Internet is bringing a lot of different things to knowledge, to even areas or places or locations where they didn't know anything about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because toleration in some I don't know, urban villages, maybe it's still the biggest value, and maybe it makes it work. But in nowadays, when everything is connected and you can see a TV show about binary relationship or about anything, whatever you want to see, then you become curious, and then it starts without communication. It becomes, the curiosity becomes depression, and then it's just an unspoken wish forever.
Yep.
It's
Mm-hmm.
not told to the other person, right?
Yep.
So we have Jamie here, and she's saying that it needs recapping and then repeating and refreshing sometimes what you said before and how you have the rules. How does it work in a relationship? Like, how do you bring up this conversation at all? I was thinking, like, all right, we're sitting at the dinner table, and all right, today is the anniversary that we set the boundaries. Let's recap. Let's go through
Well,
our boundaries.
if you look at it, this is just like organizational policy. You know, like it is like it's set in there and it's broken, and then people get upset and they look at the policy. Oh, it's like that. Relationship is like that too. People forget when you don't have rules, you know, in the open, or they forget. And if you have too many rules, people forget too. So it is like, so it's kind of like, what is a good set would be like a set of 5 rules. People remember up to about 5, and then that's the 5 major conversation that people can have. And then that's the 5 major rules that it's like you can no negotiation rules, and that is the 5 rules you keep, and then you can relook at the 5 rules.
I actually like this idea because it's kind of like the guideline, and then you know that these 5 are the ones that you keep, and then there's no really nothing that you can do about it. You stay or you go, and it's the same like the personal values. That okay, I already know my values, I know my boundaries, and I set them already before going into the relationship. And these are the 5 things that I cannot accept from anyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going into a relationship, even if it's dating, if it's about these 5 rules and I see that some of them is not met, right?
Yeah. A simple rule could be, if you ever raise a finger on me, I'm leaving. That's it. As simple as that.
And an important one. It's a really important one. So
Yeah,
if anyone is listening, that's an important one.
that's an important one. And then usually it is masked under, I love you so much that I just go crazy when things go something like that. But that's a mask. It's like, why would you buy and be okay with someone giving you an excuse for abuse? So that's the conversation. It has shifted over time. In the past, it is tolerable, but these days and age, it is not. So it is still open, depends on which culture you're from.
And it's still happening. That's the sad thing, that it's still happening. But yeah, we cannot go so fast. So I guess everyone has to shift first how they think and how brave they are. And they have to get the support like yours to open up the topic. And I love that you are focusing on this, and you are helping a lot of couples to get better in relationships.
Yeah.
So let's go further. Let's go further. What's next after this? How to tackle boundaries.
What do you mean by how to tackle boundaries? Like how to set boundaries, or what?
No, when you know already the boundaries, right? Then how you go around it? Like, do you have to recheck them every single day? Do you have a progress for that? Like, do you have a process, or do you have a time until you can get the new habit rolling? Or there is a kind of like a time when everyone is just like accepting that it
I
can
guess
still happen? Or
boundaries, example, let's take monogamy, for example. Okay, if it's a rule, some people set at the beginning, and then over time, then people get bored and they say, okay, I'm bored with you as well. Yeah, me too. And then, okay, I'm now open to explore. But what does exploration mean? It's not breaking the boundaries is about both of them having clarity of what is they're open to now. And when they don't do that, that's when funny stuff happens. So it is about, it's about being very present at this point in time that, okay, I feel this is not working. I feel I'm getting bored. I'm not generating excitement in our relationship. I feel I'm just really, stuck. The relationship, I feel that is no more, sparkle or something like that. So it's like, rather than break the boundaries, be present and share how you feel at this point in time in your relationship. Sorry, I can't hear you.
There is a very important point that Jamie is bringing up, that what if the other person is not a communicator? Like, you want to talk about the boundaries, you want to set the boundaries, you want to talk about everything, but then you are just hitting a wall because the other person on the other side is not ready for that, and he's closed up or she's closed up.
Got it. It's always that's the always that question. It's like, my partner is not willing to talk about it. That's usually like the work that I do now. I'm getting a lot more women having this conversation, asking, my partner's not ready to talk about it. My partner's not ready to talk about it. And I always ask this question: what about you that is causing your partner not being willing to be open? Is that what about you that's creating that? In a sense that I get that, like men or women, they talk to their own friends or they talk to other people about anything. And there is something about one of the partner that is creating maybe fear, maybe not non-openness, but just wanting it to go a certain way, manipulation, and therefore the partner are not willing to go that direction. Therefore, they do not want to talk about it. So it's not always about the partner does not want to talk. It's about what about you that is causing your partner not willing to be open with you. What created that?
It's also, you just think about it, how you approach the partner, because I remember some of my friends were really emotional, so they got very, very angry. And then when you are angry with a man, it's not really working, right? Because the men are closing down. And it's the same when the man is approaching in a way that the woman cannot hear that, very logically, very straightforward, coming from the Mars, that. So it's just impossible to start a conversation like that. You have to set yourself in the other person's shoes, right?
Yeah, and it's like when you are really stressed up about some issue, the brain creates cortisol, and then you get really worked up, and it's like you're going ready for a fight. And then in that moment, it's about the body takes about 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes to use up all the hormones that you just build up before you can be level-headed again. And some people say, I'm okay, let's talk now. That's a lot of them go into that conversation. I'm okay, let's talk now. And the let's talk now, while the hormones are there, a lot of time you are not able to hear your partner, or your partner is not able to hear you. So logically, or what I call the best practices is go out, have a chamomile tea, come back in about 40 minutes and talk while you're walking. That is the suggested place to talk about it.
So and when you're stuck, calm place.
Yeah, when you're stuck at home sitting there, the only place what to do is to fight. But when you're walking, your energy moves, your emotional move. So it's like emotion that is moving, then you can actually have the conversation and feel and move and talk about it. But if you're stuck, you're really just throwing it at your partner, you're not having a conversation.
So stop the conversation when you are angry. You take a 40 minutes break. You take some calming tea, like a lavender or a chamomile, and then you go and bring your husband or your wife for a romantic walk, and you talk further, right?
Yeah. If you notice, when you're starting dating, all the walks were all amazing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I remember some of them. It's just amazing. You feel like you're walking on the clouds.
Yeah, therefore go back to those one. There is NLP about it, that you're going to the same place again. This is where this is where you can clean up as well.
Perfect advice. Hope the audience made some notes and they will try it the next time when they are having an argument at home. So we have Suvarna here, and she's asking, what happens when a partner A expects their rules to be followed but doesn't do the same when partner B sets out their own rules?
Basically, this is the fair unfair conversation. It's like, it's not about the rules. There is a rule about setting boundaries and rules. Okay, the rules is there to support both of you to flourish. There must be one very important part about it. Every single rule has to support both of you to flourish. The rule is not set to limit or reduce your freedom so that you feel limited. That kind of rule does not work.
That's true. I believe that there's a big truth in here, and we have to repeat this. So the rule that is limiting you is the same like when you tolerate something, right?
Yeah, it's like you can't go out with men, or you can't go out with women. That's a limiting rule. But that's not the goal. It is about, I feel insecure, and you can't make me feel secure, but I need to work on myself. That's the whole conversation. But at this point in time, I need support. But instead of asking support, they set rules of limiting where the one party does not agree to it at all, but they just agree just because I want to end the conversation and move on with stuff. So I just agree to keep you happy for now, and I'll break it when I need it. That's when all these are broken there, where you see you set the rule, I follow you, I set the rule, you don't follow. All these conversations comes up.
And what about the question part? Because questions are also something very tricky. Like you want to ask something from your partner, but you never dare to ask. So you are waiting, and you don't pose the question. Where is this fear coming from?
There's two parts.
Why are they so afraid?
When you talk about asking for something, it could be coming from the place of deservability. It's like, do I deserve this or do I don't? If you inside that you feel you don't deserve, but you are asking for it, there is guilt running. So when you don't feel you don't deserve and you're asking for it, the guilt is in the way of you asking for it. So it stops. Because when you ask, you feel guilty. It's like you ask for like something, a massive diamond ring, and you feel bad about it. It's like you kind of want, but you feel bad about it. You know the family cannot afford it, but you still ask for it. So there is guilt running in that area. The other part of it is deservability is called right or wrong. Morally, it's like, okay, our family is not doing well during this pandemic era, and I actually want a Hermes bag that is paying 36 months down the road or something like that, but I want it. So it becomes like, I don't think it's the right thing, so I don't ask for it because I feel that is a wrong thing to do. So it comes from the place of that's a wrong thing to do. So if it goes into that direction, then yes, people are afraid to ask for it. And who says that what's right, what's wrong, what you deserve, and what you deserve is your own comfort zone, and what have you worked on with yourself.
Perfect advice. I think we are touching points, and we will come back with Terence many times throughout this summit. And I'm hoping that you are collecting all your questions and you will bring them up, and you can ask Terence here straight away, and I'm sure that he will answer. And in the meantime, we crossed the 30 minutes, so I'm kind of like checking the other side of this title. So we have to get over it. So let's talk about sex, baby. So let's start that part. I know that everyone is waiting for it. So what are the things that are the first things, like the biggest problem in this area? It's also communication, right?
Well, it's like depends on where you are on this planet. Um, and if you are in the planet in this part of the Asia part of the world, it's kind of like the whole sex is a very taboo conversation. And then when it's such a conversation that your parents don't talk about it, and even if you talk among your friends, you joke about it. When you come home, it's like a no talk about it. And what happens is like you have trained to not talk about it other than with your own friends. To bring it up, it's scary. And therefore, a lot of people don't if you are in this part of the world. Okay, and other parts of the world where people are more open, then they are easier to talk about it. It depends on environment. So it comes from culture, some of it, but it's not. That is because you are not trained to talk about it. Doesn't mean you can't. So when people are not trained, they just need a bit of training to start talking about it. That's all.
So when it comes about not talking about it, does it affect the way how you are, your happiness? Like, because this is a big, but let's be honest, we are humans, so this is part of our lives, and it's mainly almost all of us is triggered by this, right? We are
Mm-hmm.
triggered by the sexual energies. We have a lot of things around this area, but if we can't talk about it, can we really enjoy it? Can we really be happy about it?
Well, an easy example is this: you being women. It's like if you remember when you started open to have like kind of intimate relations or start having sex, then at the first time it was amazing. But then just because you have it once, the whole conversation is like it could be every time you get together, it is expected kind of conversation. And consent for one time doesn't mean the consent for the next 24 hours, 3 times a day, or something like that. And it goes on. So it is more about, okay, I'm ready now. I'm not ready the next moment, but you need to speak up. And it's not just for the female, it's the male too. Because like as time goes on, things change. What you like change. What you don't like change. What are comfortable change. What are willing to explore change. So the whole thing is about not letting shame be in the way of those conversations.
I'm really thinking about it that we should go into the area when people are they don't know what they can say no to in this situation, because that's really, really important to protect yourself. So what would you say, what are the things, I mean, how would you make someone say no if they don't have the bravery, or they don't have the power, or if they are just like a small little tiny lady, right? But they cannot say no, and they don't have the tools to say no. So where to start, where to turn, what to do in a relationship where it's not possible to do it?
Well, if you look at that situation, it's also like what are you willing to do to stop it? In the sense that like this has been a study to talk about it. Disgust stops movement forward. It's like if you're caught by a serial killer, they're going to kill you. And there's a bit of studies like if you pee or you shit all over, they'll just run away and leave you alone. But that's what it takes for it to stop at times. I'm talking about that's the extreme, okay? And for some people like that, some people are just like no, but sometimes it's a no before it goes to a yes, or sometimes no, but I can convince it to be a yes, and therefore you already train your whoever it is to say that okay, my no is not really no.
So it has to be a straight no from the beginning, so that they know
Yes.
that no, this is a straight no. This is like
When I'm
the
uncomfortable
five
and say
rules,
no,
right? We don't do that.
yeah, when I say no, stop, jump up, and leave this house. That is when I say no, that's what it means. So that is what I call the boundary rule. It's like when I say no, everything stops, stand up, walk to the door, and leave the house. That is kind of like when you say no, that's kind of you set that boundaries from the start. And when you set boundaries by small steps, you don't go like, okay, I jump into it and then I want to reverse it. You also test to find out about your partner. Do they respect your boundaries in this area? If your partner does not respect your boundaries from day one, they are not going to respect your boundaries on day 2, day 3, day 4. So then you have a choice. Do you want to be with this person that do not respect your intimate boundaries? And if you choose to be with someone that do not respect your intimate boundaries and you complain about it later, it's because you bought it, then that's what happens.
So if you are in this part of the world, right? Let's say I moved to Asia. I know what is totally different here. I see the difference between Europe and here in this part of the world. As a woman, as a man, there are different rules. What are the things that make it harder for people to talk about? And if it's hard to talk about it, then where can they turn? Like you said, friends, not really, family, not really. So who can they talk to? Are there places where people can talk about this? Are there helplines or what's happening here in this part of the world?
Okay, let's take this part of the world. Let's say take Southeast Asia, for example. Are there places you can call for help? Yes. Okay, there's many helplines where you can talk to. If you need counseling, you can talk to people about it. But if you look at it, it's like, if you're in danger, are there places you can go to? Yes, there are. And the only thing is like, it more comes to, do you have the courage to leave? It's that question. Do you have the courage? Because you're not tied in chains. Some people are tied in chains in the cases that in the past. Most of them are not tied in chains. They can go out, they can leave, but they don't. The chain is here mentally, not on the hands or the feet.
But is it coming from the societal rules? Is it coming from the shame, from being shamed for what they have or what is going on?
It could
Or
be. It
what
could
is the
be.
strongest thing here that stops people from stepping out?
Sometimes it could be religion. Sometimes people allow that to rule. Well, it's not a bad thing, but like if you allow that and you are designed to suffer, then you suffer. Some people allow that. Some people it is because like their parents tell them so. Some people is they bought a story from their parents. Some people is because uh,
Their
they feel.
reality, or that's their belief from their childhood, what they have seen,
Yes.
right? Mhm.
Yeah, because their parents were like that, or I thought this is normal. So that's their normalcy. So therefore they're stuck in there and they don't know about it and they thought that's normal. They don't feel stuck. That's the thing.
They feel that normal, so
Yeah,
it's like everyday life for us. It's everyday life for them, totally
but
normal,
it's not.
but
So they
it's
are
not.
stuck in a kind of relationship where they are abused sexually and then they don't know about it. So it's about when do you stand up and where can you seek help? But they don't seek help because they don't think that they need help.
So where is this starting? Where does the awareness start? Like for the people who are in this, does it have to go to the extremes until they get into the hospital, or they are, I don't know, and they are in a very bad situation, or do they turn to you, or what they do? What can they do? I mean, how
Okay,
does it happen? The
okay,
turning.
yeah, like I'm available for people to support people. That's one. But there's already starting. There's a new movement that is in town, which is what we call sex positive advocates, where they talk about sex more openly, and
Mhm.
then um, there's still a big divide among the urban and the suburban areas. And there's a big divide about culture, there's a big divide about all these things. So until they are ready to move forward and say that I need help, no one can help them. Because in that part of the world, if you help them, you're doing the wrong thing.
You are becoming also the one who is shamed, and you are in the wrong group again, right?
Yeah, so you're the one that causing it to get worse. So if you go to that area to help, so I've experienced that before, and that part of the world do not need this kind of help. They need different things. So it's about me being righteous, going to that part of the world. So help is there only when you feel that that's the help you need.
Yeah, that's a good advice. So let's go further, like at the end of this conversation, and together with all these boundaries and questions and about sex, like what are those few tips or few takeaway rules or takeaway tools that the people can learn from you tonight in a relationship when it's about these three things, the must do's or the biggest advices that you can give in the next
Okay.
10 minutes?
I guess one that very, very important is this. To me, it's like if you have secrets, if you are ashamed, and all this conversation, and there are things that you don't want to let your partner to know, find a place to talk about it. That's where the relationship move forward. Because if not, you'll be holding baggages, you'll be holding guilt and stuff like that.
Very
So
important.
that will be one very thing. There's a question coming up.
Yes, we have a question from Suvarna. So, for young adults, in terms of sex meal satisfaction, seems to come first. How can young women assess if that is a reflection of their partner in the long term?
Does it mean that what do you mean by assess?
I think she's just formulating it very politely. So, how can they know that it will be like this forever?
Oh, okay. So I'm thinking it's like, okay, it's for young adults. The male partner just wants sex. So how can the female know that this is the person for sure?
I think she's referring on the side that it's about male satisfaction. So that means that it's only about the man's happiness, but not the woman's satisfaction. And how can they talk about this?
Okay, let's go on that direction until she corrects it. Uh, it is like, but well, that's kind of how it happens. And like, and if the women feel that they're not satisfied, that's the whole conversation. No one knows how to make you happy unless you know how to do it yourself. There is no like do me and make me happy. No, it doesn't work that way. You need to know how to make you happy, then you can teach others how to make you happy, or teach others how to do it to make you happy. Because for me, female is very, very different from the male. And for female, that's a lot of different buttons, and it's more about self-exploration before teaching others to explore you. Same for male. It's just that the males are easier.
So we are coming back always. I believe in this area of whenever I'm talking to you about any part of relationships and love and the men and the women and all these things, it all comes back to the same thing about communication. Don't you feel like every time the solution is communicating with yourself and with others and giving every information that is available, right?
A lot of times it is that, like when people say that everything has to do with communication, and it's like that's part of the training. You're training the world how to treat you. You're training your partner how to treat you. You're training your kids how to treat you. You're training the world how they treat you. Because if you do not train them, they will treat you however they want to treat you. And if that's not what you want, you train them.
That's a perfect message. I believe that's something that needs to be written on the wall because it's something very important. Like whatever you let to happen, or let it happen, then it will happen. But if you
Yeah,
don't let it happen, it will not come. It will not happen to you.
exactly. It's like, if you don't like that, communicate. If not, people don't know, and they do it again and again and again until you speak up. It's like, sometimes you say that, oh, it's not nice to speak up and whatever story there is. But like when you don't, people think you're okay with it and they continue to do it until you're not okay. And then sometimes question, I thought you're okay with it. You've been doing this for 10 years. Why suddenly it's not okay?
Just a wake up call. Sorry, it was okay until today for 40 years. But today we are together with 41 years, and today it's not okay.
And then they finally notice, okay, let's stop doing that. I could have said that 40 years ago.
You were annoying me for 50 years with this one. Let's get over it. I don't want it anymore.
Yeah. And the other part was that sometimes if you talk about annoyance, it's like some people know what annoys you, but they just do it just because they want to annoy you.
But then you can put it on the 5 rows list, and you can set it as strict no, that you cannot do this anymore. Don't sneeze on me. Something like this.
Well, that is like kind of like, if you're talking about that, it could be a cleanliness rule that is set. But it is a rule that supports both of you to flourish, rather than those are the rules. So it depends on the rules that's set. So I work with people where they come out with rules, and which are the rules that would support, which are the rules that actually limits them.
And as we are at this summit and we are talking about everything from the young and the wise perspective, so what would be your message at the end of this really amazing 50 minutes conversation? It just flew by, to all the young and the wise out there. Like, if there is a relationship where the age difference is bigger, or where they are from different generations, then how can they handle the things, or how can they go into the relationship and align their values, it's so much baggage that they have to align when there is a young person and an old person, or vice versa.
The thing about different generations is this: the older generations wants their younger generation to be like that, because they thought that was the way I went through to succeed in life. Therefore, follow my way. But else, the young generation say, that is not the way I want to live my life. You are making me you. I don't want to be you. I want to be me. It's like, would the old be willing to let go of those values and think that what's right for them, and allow the young to be? That's where I want to leave them. If they are continuing to support them financially and whatever, it's just one of the best way to cripple the young. Mentally and every way. So
treated like a little kings, as we say in Hungary, or the ones who faced a lot of struggles throughout their lives. And I'm sure that the ones who are faced a lot of struggles, they will be able to accommodate, to adapt, to be more flexible, and to survive through life, right?
Yeah.
Than the ones who were in this magic bubble and they got to everything in front of them.
Got it. It's like the one that why they survive. My belief is this: they have more training in hard times and they overcome it. So they know how to overcome. When it's hard, oh, these are the 3 things I need to do to overcome. Where someone has no training in that area, it survives in a magic bubble. Suddenly, oh, this is my first time doing it, and they fail. And no one gets, if you're playing piano for the first time, you won't be as good as, the one that has been training for 10 years. That's all.
Experience, right? The more experience you have, the more even if you set boundaries, and it's always, everything is triggering me new things. Like you said something and I'm thinking, like, even if you don't have experience, how can you set boundaries if you don't know what you don't like and what you like, right?
Got it. You set bad boundaries until you discover that was not the boundaries you want to set.
Exactly.
Bad boundaries is better than no boundaries.
So if you find out that you like something, then you just can easily say like, okay, this one can go. Let's delete it from the 5 rules, and then I can go with that.
Yeah, because no one has experience in setting boundaries. I wish I knew this in my 20s or in my teens, but I only knew it now. But how did I know now? Because I made a lot of bad mistakes. That's all.
And it's okay. Mistakes are okay also. Just take care about yourself. I believe the biggest thing here around this topic, sex and the relationship, is that take care about yourself and make sure that you are in somewhere, some place that you like to be, and you are treated well and you are not hurt. Because that's the, I believe, the three things that in a relationship, really, that's the base. Not being hurt, being in the right place, being safe. That's something that we need to keep
Yeah, like
ourselves.
it's like if you're talking about this, it's like usually the victims are more of the female gender. Usually. So don't put yourself in danger. If you know you're going to be in danger, don't go.
Mhm.
You know beforehand. Your wife tells you, stop, turn around, go away. You know this all the time, but you choose to go anyway, and therefore you get in trouble. That's what happens all the time. Trust that spider sense that you have and turn around and go home. Don't put
And
yourself in danger.
and it's the same for the men, because I know about some powerful women who have a many, like, it's not really physical hurt, but it's about the mental hurt, that women are very good with that, to manipulate,
Emotional
to
abuse,
emotional guilting and all these things.
emotional blackmail, and
Exactly.
and that is because the men cannot handle guilt, so they just get guilt into, and then they can't leave because they feel guilt into again, because that's the button they can press all the time, and that is until they learn that this is happening. It's like men or women, they if they're open to it, they need to have a conversation with a counselor or with a coach or with someone just to get out of wherever they are at. If you're not feeling happy and if you're constantly in pain, that's when you seek help.
Yes, for it's same for both genders. So make sure that
Yes.
you are doing it from both sides. We are talking about all ages, all genders, and everyone with a diverse picture in our head. So also about the new ones that are popping up, and you have, like, I asked my friend, and there are like almost like 70 types of different names for all the different new ways of like beings. And it's I respect all of it, but you really need a good education to get to know all of it
Yeah.
and to respect
It, it,
everything
it's
around it.
very new. It's very new, and it's like a bit advanced. It's more Californian, and it's not caught up in this part of the world. We are probably about 5 years behind.
Yes, it comes soon. I believe it comes soon. So, Terence, it was an amazing conversation. Thank you for the audience. Thank you, Suvarna, Jagatis, and Perpal, and Jamie, everyone who was here. And it was really amazing that you gave us so many questions and you were commenting, and we really liked it. And next time I bring back Terence, we will talk about another topic in the same area. Thank you very much, Terence. It was an amazing conversation. Keep up
Thank
the good
you.
habits to helping people and being so wise around relationship.
Thank you very much. I'll see you soon.
Yes, we will see each other soon. Good night for everyone. And if you are ready to network, then in 5 minutes, I will be in the networking party room of the summit. So you can meet us and then we can connect, and you can change connections and social media links. And if you want to follow Terence and ask questions, then just straight away go to right now to Intimate in Love on Instagram, and then just follow him and you can contact him there. Thank you very much, Terence. See you at another week with another
See
topic.
you. Bye
Good
bye.
night. Bye bye. So, good night, everyone. Now we are heading to the Zoom room for the first networking party of the 6 weeks of the summit. Every Saturday, we will be there for an hour. So, if you would like to network, then you know where to go. If you have a free ticket, you already received the networking party Zoom links. It's different from the workshops. And see you there in 5 minutes from 10 o'clock until 11 o'clock to get to know each other, have some fun, listen to some music, and just spend a nice evening together. Goodbye.